oh sorry, I need to print squares squares. See, initially the square was red, yellow, green, purple and blue, and now the squares, because I'm printing the squares, it has changed to x, y, z, a, b, because we have mentioned here in the for loop that square of I should be equals to cube of I. It means that the first element of the square should be the first element of cube, second element should be equal to second element of cube, and so on. So you can see here the power of the loops. If we have 1 billion items in the list, and if we want to change the list by another list, we can change it within a minute or a fraction of minutes. So these are the power. This is the power of the loops. So let's move forward. So now, before going to this topic, see this thing. For example, if what this code will do, let's see, visualize the code, and we say that squares, it has generated a list squares which is the same as previous. Then we say for I in range length of the square, what is the length of square? 0, 1, 2, whatever the length of the square is, go over it. And for I print I, give me this index, and the index also the content or whatever the item in the index is. So let's see, I is equal to 0, print I, and the element on I, which is red. Then for I, print I, and then give me the element, and so on. And last one, so what it does like 0 red, 1 yellow, it prints each and every element along with its index. So this was one of the technique. This code is not available, so you can write it and use it. This is not available on the labs, so you can write and use it. Now officially, what's the code available in the lab, which is squares is equals to this thing, and for I comma x in enumerate squares. So it means that I is representing the index and x representing the element. So it will say print I and x. It means that enumerate squares, go over the complete list of the squares and print me the index and the element as well, the corresponding element, I would say. So see this thing, the same result. So both of them are same, but it has introduced us to a new function which is enumerate. So how it's mentioned here, so enumerate for I in square in enumerate of the square. So here the variable is used as square, so it was a bit confusing, so I changed it to x. So let's change it to x here, and let's change it to x here, and then see. Okay, the same result. But if I say capital X and small x here, so this will be, this is an issue, this is not the same result. So this should be like capital X. Okay, then moving forward to the while loop. What is the while loop? In the for loop, we actually knew the number of times we need to iterate. Like here we knew for example, here we knew the range. Whenever you know the range or the number of times you need to iterate, you need the for loop. But when you don't know the number of times you will be using a loop, then you use a while loop. For example, here we have a list, dates is equals to 1982, 1980, 1973 and 2000. For let's suppose we have index I is equals to 0, and we say that air is equals to 0 initially. Air is 0. Then we say while air is not equal to 1973, it is not 1973, now it is 0. Then air is equals to dates I, and print air, and print it took I iterations to get out of the loop. So let's suppose use the same code here and visualize it. Visualize the code, and we see that next item dates, so it has generated a list over here, and then I is equals to 0 and air is equals to 0. So I is a variable or counter, we will be using it as a counter, and air is also a variable here. And while air is not equals to 1973, so here air is not equal to 1973 because it is 0. So that's why I prefer using the Python tutor. It's a very beautiful tool because you will not be able to grasp the concept directly looking at code, but it will make you the things very similar for you. So while this is not equals to 1973, air is equals to date of I. Air is equal to dates I. So I is 0 initially, so it will be 1982. Air is 1982 now. I is equals to I plus 1. So increment the index. Initially it was 0, now I will get 0 plus 1, which is equals to 1, and then print air. So it has print 1982. Now the next thing is, while air is not 1973, air is equals to date of I. So again it's 1982, then air is equals to dates of I, which is 1980, the second one, and I is equals to I plus 1. I is 1 now, then it will move to 2. I will get to 2 and then print the air 1980. Then next